Hello darlings, my name is MiBo and welcome to MiBo's Gimp tutorial. Now this is post commentary because the audio got messed up last time and I have no idea what's going on, so let's have a look see. This is mainly for Nick from Rational Gamers because he was curious about how I do my illustrations for the Wonderful Wizard of Oz that I'm doing. So here we're gonna open it up. I had it at 800 by 600 or 600 by 800, and then you can go to filters, and with the filters you can go down to decor and add a border, and that bumps it up to 624 to 824. So that's just an automatic thing there. What was I talking about here? My layers? Was it my layers? Oh yeah, on the right hand side you have the layers. And these are actually layer groups, so when I tell you what sketch and color, they're layer groups. And I always use layer groups because they're much easier to handle. The border goes on its own layer after it's created. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the sketches here. Bear with me. This could be a little while. So how is everyone today while this, works? But this is good. It's good as post commentary because you won't hear my mouse click unless I click something now, which you've probably already heard so far. But so I typically like to use layer groups. I've recently started using layer groups as opposed to different layers because they help keep things very organized. And I'm not sure if I had shown it already, but in the tool option box, we'll get to that later, but on the tool option box, it has little anchors and a pen. That's called a Paths Edit tool. That's right over there, the Paths Edit tool. That will be your best friend, I promise you that. That is exactly what I use. Now what I used to sketch with, there we go, they opened up. As you see, I've got like Dorothy, Tin Man, Cowardly Lion. These are all my sketch layers. Always have a sketch layer. And on the left hand side you'll see the pencil tool is selected. I always use a pencil tool and I always drop the opacity down. The opacity it's random. I don't really have a particular sort of thing for that. It's always random. And I always drop it from 20 to 2. Always. So we're going to go ahead and open up the color layers so you can see the other layer groups I have inside that layer group. Organization. Now this is a very big file, that's why it's probably running very slow. It is at 170 megabytes, I believe, and it's just going to keep getting bigger. But so once this opens up, I'll show that to you. But the other things that I use here, I do have a Wacom bamboo tablet with a mouse and pen tool. Now when I use the pen tool, I don't use it to actually draw with. I use it to sketch with, and then I use the path tool to actually do all my nice crisp black lines, because I have this thing, it's a personal thing, where I like to have nice crisp lines for my art. I don't like them to be fuzzy unless I manually make them fuzzy by using a Gaussian blur. So for the artwork that I use for the Wonderful Wizard of Oz for the narration, is I want those crisp lines. That's why I use the Paths tool. So since the other layers don't want to open up, we're gonna go ahead and try to sketch. But here I'm showing you the brushes, how I drop down the opacity, and I always use a hard brush. The standard is a fuzzy brush, a soft brush, but I use a hard brush for sketches. And again, I always lower opacity and I always drop it down to size 2. It just makes, for me, it's a personal preference. You can use size 5, size 8, size 3. I just use 2. It's just what I've been using. For me, it works. For you, it may not work. So we're going to use a flying monkey. It was a Twitter poll for the flying monkey. And I usually go to Google Images and try to look up references if I don't exactly know what I want to draw. A lot of it comes from my imagination, but I always try to find a reference. And you'll see here I'm trying to sketch out the wings. The wings first. I don't have a system in which sometimes I usually just start with a circle for the head. That's what I usually do. I start with the head and I work on the body and stuff. But sometimes with the flying monkey I was trying something different. I wanted to see how it would look if I really want to get the wings in there. I hate drawing wings, but I do want to draw it. So Twitter poll 1 with flying monkey, we're going to do flying monkey. Now you can see how crisp, how sketchy these lines are. My nerves are very, very bad. I do not have steady hands at all. That's why I can't use the pen tablet and actually to draw things. That's why I use a path tool. But we'll get to the path tool later on. Right now I'm just here sketching away, trying to figure this out. I hate feathers so much, but birds are beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue the reason why I use a low opacity is so that I can draw through the lines. I can sketch through the lines without having to worry about them being too dark. Say it's the same if you use a sheet of paper or whatever. But as opposed to paper, let me put that out there before I forget. You can draw on a piece of paper, you can draw on line paper, you can draw on printer paper, you can draw on whatever kind of paper you want, and then transfer it to the Gimp program. You can scan it in, you can even take a photograph of it. But all you need really is a rough sketch, which is what I'm doing here. Now, a lot of times, I'm very, very picky with my art. If I don't like something, I will get rid of all of it, or pieces of it. But for the most part, I usually get rid of all of it until I go back and I do some research again. And then I come back and I try it again, and if I don't like it again, I'll get rid of it and I'll try again. It's just trial and error. You can see here that's me using a tablet. That is not a straight line. Some people have very, very good hands. I do not. And I've never drawn a monkey before, so this is new. This is pretty neat. Oh, this post commentary is so strange. I mean, it's different for a game, but to draw, this is odd. Yeah, I can already tell that I don't even know why I started drawing this. It's just awful. Oh, it's so bad. Look at it. What am I doing? What's going on? What is that? I should really watch these more often. Yeah, this is no good. I'm probably gonna end up erasing all this, doing it again. One thing I should note, if you do use a Wacom tablet, if you do have a Wacom tablet and you want to use it, Gimp does not support pressure. Photoshop and Corel Painter and probably Illustrator, they all support. That's slapping someone with me hitting my arm. Sorry about that. They all support pressure sensitivity with the tablets. That's why Wacom tablets are famous for what they do. Now, Gimp does not have that support. It just does not have that support for the pressure. And there we go. Delete. Don't like it. So because it doesn't have the pressure support for that, you're going to have to use the layer modes, and you're going to have to use all kind of modes for the paintbrushes when you color. Now, I'll get to that later on when we actually finish as real world ink. It would be called inking. After you ink your picture, I'll go ahead and show you how I color. Now here we go with round 2. Look how awful this is. Look at that. What is it doing? And I'm sorry it's so choppy. I had to drop the frame rates down to about 10, I believe, in order for this to work properly. Oh, I'm trying a different direction. I'm a right-handed, so all of my characters tend to want to look right. So I tried to vary it up by sometimes looking right, looking straight on, looking left. All my characters want to look, they all want to draw left. Yeah, they face left because I'm right-handed. So I usually try to vary it. If I can't vary it, I'll just layer flip it to make it look different. But sometimes they come out good. Like if you've seen the Cowardly Lion on my Twitter, he came out really good. I was actually impressed with that one. I get impressed with myself sometimes because as an artist, you have expectations for that are lower than what other people tend to think of it. So for me, yeah. But I'm actually impressed with some of the things I do. Sometimes I go back and think I didn't even do that. Okay. I don't like this monkey. Although I did give him a little hat. Don't know if he should keep that little hat. But as you can see, the opacity works really good when you want to make darker lines or if you want to make sketchy lines. We're gonna have him some spiky hair, some spiky fur. Does a monkey have fur, or is it called hair? I wonder. Interesting. Maybe post commentary is not so bad. I am messing up all my words right now. I'm so sorry about that. But also with GIMP, I don't remember about Photoshop too much. I haven't used it in a very, very long time. But with GIMP, sometimes when you zoom in too much, it'll not want to move the layers. So you'll have to use the space bar. It's a shortcut for the move tool, and you can move the layer around so you can have that extra gray space. Like here, I'm moving over the layer because there was not enough space on the right hand side. So I just moved it over, and then what you do is you go to layer, you go to layer to image size. That will resize the layer to the actual image, so you're not going to get cut off. That's very, very important, because a lot of you may not realize that, but it will cut your picture off because it's a selection. Am I drawing his tail now? Oh yes, I'm drawing his tail. This is so odd. And also, my husband bought me Encoder Pro, so now I can actually screen capture videos longer than 10 minutes without having to break them up. So that's really, really cool, and I was really, really happy about that. I mean, I love him to death. So awesome. So this is test number 1 for 22-minute video. Although the audio was my fault, that's why it's post-commentary. I didn't check the settings. That's my fault. So here I'm going to try to do the wings again, and I can already tell you just from looking at it, I don't know why I tried to draw the wings in the first place. Whoops. You gotta be careful what you grab there. That's what I was saying about the move tool. You can move the layer around, but you have to be careful what you grab. And unfortunately, Gimp does not support layer locking like Photoshop does. You can hit the little brush at the top where it says lock. That'll lock you from painting on it, and the transparency next to it locks you from putting any transparencies on it. So but you can still move the layer around. So there's really no real layer lock unless you click the little eyeball icon to hide it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to do the wings again. Yeah, I don't like this one. He's gonna disappear very soon too. Yeah, so it's actually rather interesting. I've been drawing since I was a small child in elementary school and all that, but I haven't really started developing a style till recently when I wanted to narrate children's books. And I started with The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and in order to narrate that, I have to put 10 different images into the book so that I can put it on Amazon. So there's that. That's why I started illustrating. That's where I started taking it more seriously. That's where I learned how to use the path tool. And the reason why I'm so adamant about this path tool is because it's a very unique tool. It's very, very interesting, and it can be utilized so well. As if you follow me on Twitter, you can see them there. I always show off the lines, and I always show off the colors. Now the path tool, oh, there he goes. He's gone. Go back, do some research. I'll be back. But the main reason for the tutorial idea was because the path tool is something that I wanted to learn how to use, because I know that it can get crisp lines. Now the problem with the path tool is I couldn't find a proper tutorial on it. I found one video on YouTube, and he wasn't talking, he didn't explain anything. As you can see here, I start off with the head, and I set the eyes, and the little nose, and the ears. But he didn't explain anything, he just showed himself using the path tool to make a doodle. And without explanation, you can't really understand what it does. So that's where I decided to try to do a tutorial, and then Nick from Rational Gamers popped in, and he's like, hey, I'd be interested in seeing that. So I said, alright, let's do it. Let's do Flying Monkey. Because he's really a fan of my work, so thank you so much, Nick. You're so sweet. I don't like my work half the time, but thank you. I'm glad other people enjoy it. So this path tool, I learned on my own how to use it. I googled around for some tutorials, and I didn't really get any information. So this, I hope part 2 of this video will help you. This is just me sketching stuff out so that you can see the process from start to finish. Because that's what I love to show my process. Everyone has a different process. And sometimes, if you saw, I'll change the opacity to make darker lines so I can see things more clearly. But I can tell you now, this monkey, he's gonna be gone too. But yeah, back to the path tool. The path tool is a very unique tool. It's very interesting, and I didn't use it much when years and years ago, when I was using Photoshop, because I didn't know how to use it. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was stupid. But when I started learning on my own about it, I figured out, hey, this tool is very versatile. This is a very unique thing. So that's what I want to show. Part 2 of this video is definitely gonna show how I use the path tool. And it is very, very important to me that I share this information, because I know... And there's a monkey! Yeah, I started drawing him, and then I paused the video, and I forgot to unpause the recording, so there's the monkey! There's the monkey! It's a good-looking monkey. Looks like a chimpanzee. I like this monkey. I don't typically use any shapes for the body. I just use a shape for the head that gives me the round shape of the head gives me a proportion, so I know what proportions to do the other rest of the body parts. Oh, excuse me. It's not that. If you hear any scratching in the background, if you hear me yelling, okay, I just leave that on because I didn't like the way the arm looked. So back, we're redoing the arm. Okay, this is my cat scratching. Oi. Sorry about that, my kitty's trying to help me make the bed there. She's trying to make the bed herself. Anyway, so here we're drawing a little monkey. Got a little leg, little chimpanzee. I think he's cute. I like him. I like this monkey. A lot of times you'll see me go over the lines over and over and over again. That's because I only want some definition, and it helps me when I use the path tool later on to keep that definition. And even when I use path tool, I'll alter some things. You keep going, and you keep working with it. But the path tool is something that is it's one of my favorite tools. So here we're drawing the wings. This monkey's much better than the rest of them. See, a little bit of research. Always do research. Always get ideas and references. It's always good to do that. But there really is no right way to do this. This is just my way of doing it. It's just my way of doing things. So yeah, my tablet, I only use the pen tool, the tablet pen option, only to sketch. That's the only thing I use it for. I don't use it, and I use it to color with, because it's just easier to color with than a mouse. But I'm a pro at coloring mouse. So when we get to the coloring stage, you'll see. So I'm going to go here, I'm making some uneven lines to show that later on there will be feathers there. Now a lot of times I typically don't want to put a lot of detail because I like the details to be used with the colors. It's just how I do things. Here I'm defining the eyes a little bit and shape the eyes. Just to help the next inking bit along. As you can see, I've turned up the opacity to make them darker, because I like the shape. Ooh, this is a long video. Oh my goodness. There we go, draw a little monkey. This is a cute monkey. I like this monkey. Yeah, this whole thing is to show my process of how I draw and to teach you all my lovely darlings, how to use the path tool. And you don't have to be subscribed to my channel to watch my Let's Play videos or my video game videos. You can just come to the channel and see this, and I hope that you can learn something from it, whether it's the way I do things, or here we're going to draw a vest, putting a vest on him. Whether it's the way I do things, but I really want to teach the path tool because I have not found a proper tutorial myself. I had to teach myself how to do it, and I want to teach others how to use it because it's a very, very good tool for those who want those nice crisp lines but don't have the steady enough hand like I do. Or not like me, but like other people do. I have seen some beautiful work, and I have to find other ways. And when I find other ways, I love to share those ways with other people. So here I'm just defining this muscle structure a little bit. That's a little bit more. It's to help, like I said, it's just to help along. I'm going to end up probably changing the opacity on the whole layer itself to make it lighter so I can use the pen tool easier. And I always use black as outlines, but that's just for this area. That's just for these pictures, these illustrations. Black's just universal. Here I'm drawing out the feathers. I hate feathers so much. I may not have everything spot on with words, but I remember I do hate feathers. Just I haven't had practice with feathers, but you'll see with the pen tool, the path tool, I think it's a pen tool in Photoshop, the path tool makes things a lot easier. So this is pretty much the hardest thing, is actually getting a sketch done and getting it uploaded into Gimp. Now, for those of you who don't know, Gimp is freeware, so I'll have the link below, so you guys can go ahead and download that and test it. But remember, if you have a Wacom tablet, it does not support pressure sensitivity. You're gonna have to do that on your own. Or you can wait till I color it. I'll show you. There's a lot of things you can do with Gimp and with a tablet. But you don't necessarily need a tablet to make wonderful pictures in Gimp. I know a lot of people use Gimp for photo manipulations, and I've just never done that. I've always used it as a digital pad of paper, I guess. Yeah, digital pad of paper. That's exactly how how I use this. And I prefer Gimp to Photoshop only because I've used Gimp for so much longer. Here I'm just putting in little bits and pieces of the feathers because later on when it gets colored, we're gonna define the feathers using the colors. I hate feathers so much. But I'll probably end up fixing that wing on the left side a little bit more with the pen tool. I keep calling it a pen tool. It's a path tool in Gimp. I'm so sorry. It's a path tool. It's a path edit tool. Now, there's a lot more things with Gimp that you can do. They have maskings, they have layers, they have all kinds of things. You can download plugins. You can download. I have a variety of brushes that I have, but I don't really use them all that much. Not like I used to, because it's very basic. This is what I want. So here we're gonna give them some curly hair, little curly cute hair. Probably not a hat though. But like I said, I really want to help, and I hope that this does help others. So for now, this is part 1. Sketching. How I sketch. How I go through all my variations and... yeah. But I really hope that you can learn with the path tool, because the path tool is very interesting. It can be frustrating at times. I've messed up plenty of times. And even I'm still finding ways. I'm still learning things with the path tool and with what I do when I draw. It's all it is. It's all a learning process. You just gotta keep learning. As long as you're open to it, you can learn. Here I'm just defining the little bits and pieces. I'm making them fuzzy. Putting little fuzz balls on him so it looks like he's furry. It's always the subtleties that make a difference. Alright. So we're almost to the end of this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my little outro. And thank you all so much for watching, and subscribers. I love you all. You're all my sweet darlings, my little sweet peas. You'll see me on Twitter. I'll always call you darlings and sweet peas. Maybe pumpkin pie around Thanksgiving. But here I'm just defining little bits and pieces. So again, next time we're gonna ink it, or path tool it if you will. So thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, hit it, have a comment or suggestion, put it in the box below, and don't be afraid to ask any questions, okay? I'll try to answer them. I usually do. If you can't find me there, you can find me on Twitter. So again, thank you all so much for watching and subscribing, my little darlings. And I'll see you in the next one. Alright? Bye-bye now!